Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jacqueline and this is Jack and Kit, a place where I talk about all of my knitting and sewing adventures. Today I have for you a podcast episode where I'm going to talk to you about my recent finished objects, some of the things that I'm working on, and then also a few things that I've bought and acquired this week. My current plan is to upload podcast episodes every other week just so I can keep you up to date with what I'm making. And in between those videos, I plan to just talk about different subjects or topical videos, just interspersed so that way I don't feel like I need to fully crank out my projects so fast. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing. You can click that subscribe button, and if you hit the little bell next to it, that will send you a notification on your phone each time I upload. And as well, if you like these type of videos, please like it. YouTube likes that, and that really helps me as I get started along my YouTube journey. So to start off, let's first address the audio. Two things with the audio today. I'm actually using a microphone for the first time, like a really nice Yeti blue microphone. So I'm really excited to offer a little bit better of audio quality. So hopefully going forward, my videos will sound and be a little bit better for you all. And then secondly, if you didn't notice, I got Invisalign. So it's a little bit more of a personal thing, but obviously you can see it. It's part of the podcast because you might be able to hear a little bit of a lisp as this is my first week. I'm still getting used to them, and I'm going to have them probably until fall, hopefully until fall and not any further. But yeah, that's going to be just a part of my face for the rest of this year. So if you do hear anything, that's just reality. That's me. But hopefully you have now like a crisp lisp in the microphone. So to start, the major elephant in the room is I am wearing my Lumme sweater. So Lumme, I've been calling it Lumme because it's a little bit more fun for me to say, but this is my finished Lumme sweater. I will insert some footage of me wearing it, but man, it's so beautiful. Some details on this are I knit it out of the Fyberspates and make Aran yarn, and I actually have both colors here so you can see. I'll show you these up close. They're really beautiful. I love how they come in these sort of balls because you don't have to wind them. So my friends and I were talking the other day, sometimes it is fun to get to wind your yarn, but sometimes it's also so satisfying when you run out, you quick just grab this, you don't have to go wind in between. So yeah, I love this. Looks like these come with 164 yards. It is an Aran weight. So yeah, 100 grams for that, 168 yards. This is the color Wink. And this is the color Betty White, which I just like laughed every time I heard that. I love it so much. And these are a blend of Peruvian Highland wool and alpaca. I believe it is, yep, it's a 50% wool, 50% alpaca. So I have some friends who are really obsessed with alpaca blends, and so it was something I really wanted to try. I've heard that the overall feel of them is just very high-end and very luxurious, so I really wanted to try it. The unique thing about alpaca, I've read, is that it doesn't really hold its shape, and so a lot of times it's mixed with wool in order to give it a little bit more springiness. And so like a straight alpaca blend, for instance, would be really nice, but it would kind of stretch out, and so that's why it's blended with wool. So that's the yarn. And I'll have to put up on the screen how many balls I used. I can't exactly remember right now. I do know I only had to use one skein of the white. Let's see. One thing you'll notice is that I didn't do the color work on the sleeve. And the reason for that is I just felt like it was so eye-catching and beautiful up here that I didn't really want the eye to move to the sleeve and back. I really just wanted this to be the focal point and, you know, the beautiful part of the sweater. So that was a personal decision that I made. It also made it just like quicker. I could just keep going in stockinette and then finish. And then also, this is another thing you'll notice about me. If I mess something up, a lot of times I will think back or I'll rip it out. But if it's something that I think is going to be totally fine, I'll usually keep going. And one of those was you're supposed to do decreases before the ribbing on the sleeves so that it cinches in a little bit more. And I forgot to do it. I just started doing the ribbing. And I was like, you know what? It's kind of fine. I kind of like that it's, they're like a little bit more slouchy of sleeves. And so yeah, I just kept it that way. I didn't want to rip back all the ribbing and then have to include those decreases, and it's worked out totally fine. Another edit that I made to this sweater is this is an Aran weight and the pattern is written for a worsted weight. So after I knit my gauge swatch and I blocked it, it just seemed like the right decision to go up a needle. And so I did go up a needle on every section. So in the regular pattern, she has you using a 6, 7, and an 8. And I essentially ended up using a 7, 8, and 9. But when I did the 7 on this bottom ribbing, I felt like it was just kind of big. My ribbing in general tends to be pretty loose. So I ended up using a 6, 8, and a 9. So 9 for the color work, 8 for the body, and then 6 for the ribbing is what I would recommend if you're going to choose to use this yarn. The yarn in general was very fun to use. I felt like with my metal Chiago needles, it was just like sliding off the needles. You know how people say something just flew off the needles? This was the first time it really felt like that. Like I could just go so fast, which is why it was knit in 2.5 weeks. So yeah, I really enjoyed the yarn. I would highly recommend it. It is something I would love to use again if I found another project I felt like it would work well with. The thing with me being a new knitter is there's so many different yarns I want to try, so I probably won't go back to this. I could see myself maybe coming back to it in a year or so, but yeah, not anytime soon. The one thing with this yarn, it is very warm. The one time I was getting ready yesterday and then today as well, like I just feel myself getting pretty warm underneath, and I'm only wearing a tank top underneath. So it is nice that I don't have to wear another layer just because it is pretty warm. That's just something to know if you do want to make something with this yarn. Another thing I want to note is this was my first time doing a sewn bind off. So for this bind off, I followed the Purl Soho tutorial where you take about 3 to 4 lengths of the edge that you want to do, and then you sew it in. It's kind of very similar to a Kitchener stitch, but I actually wasn't very happy with the way that this looked. I think it looks fine, but for how long it took, for instance, for the body, for me to bind off within the body, it took me 2 hours. And I was just like texting my friends, like, I'm getting so fed up with this because first of all, it doesn't look that good. Second of all, it's taking like 6 times as long as it would take me with a traditional bind off, just like the standard. So yeah, I'm interested in going forward. I'm going to look at, some of the other ones like the Italian bind off where you do some setup rows. I know there's a couple other ones. I definitely don't mind having to like sew it through. It's kind of meditative and fun, and it's a break from, your regular knitting, but it's just, yeah, I don't know if I'm super happy with the finish of it. I'll try to show you a little bit up close. And one thing is I'm not really sure, is that because I'm left-handed? Was I doing one every other that I wasn't supposed to be doing it? So that's something that I need to look into, but I'm just going to try a couple different bind-off methods and see what's my preferred and what's my favorite. I don't really see myself doing this one again. Something unique about this pattern too is you don't do short rows up top. You do them right underneath the color work and then again above the binding. So I do think if you added short rows right underneath the collar, it would sit a little bit lower, like a more traditional collar. So it's up to you on the look and feel you're going for. I notice this is a look that Sari uses a lot in her patterns. I think it's just her preferred look. And it is kind of a little bit more wintry. It's not a mock neck, but it almost is with how it sits up on your neck. So I would say if you're one of those people that hates the collars that get super wide, you would absolutely love this. So that's just something to note. But overall, I am so happy I made this pattern. As you can see, it was super fast for me to make, but it was also very enjoyable. And the reason why it was so fast is because I just kept wanting to knit on it. I kept picking it up every single night. I was so excited after dinner to get to work on it all night, and the color work in general is just so beautiful. There's rarely long floats. I think there was only maybe 2 or 3 rows where I had to trap the floats. Everything else was just very fast. You know, I only did 2 colors, so I was able to have one hand doing continental and one hand doing traditional, and it just flew by. And like I said, the yarn was just sliding off the needle. So not only was the construction really enjoyable, but I also think it's something I'm gonna really enjoy wearing. It's so beautiful and I can't wait to wear it more. One note on blocking is it does stretch a little bit with the wet blocking, and that was actually something I was really happy about. I noticed that with my swatch, but I was also very pleased that the body I was able to add probably 1.5 inches to 2 more inches. And I was really pleased with that because when I was trying it on right after I made it, the top was just a little bit more cropped than I had wanted. It probably came to the very top of my high-waisted jeans. And with the block, I was able to add about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. And that way I'm not fussing with it quite as much when I'm wearing it. And I can also tuck it into my jeans now, which is something I love to do and love to wear. And yeah, I can't wait to see the different ways that I style this and the different ways that I wear it. Yesterday was the first day I wore it, and I wore it to a yarn store, and the amount of compliments and questions I got wearing it was just such a boost of confidence and so fun. So I can't wait to wear it more. And thank you, Sari, for making this beautiful pattern. I can't wait to explore her patterns more. So let me know, have you made this pattern? Please show me some pictures, send it to me on Instagram. I would love to see the one that you've made. Oh, we have a guest. She's knocking at the door. She likes to go like this to the door. Let's get her. Come here, Kady. Hello. So this is actually perfect because I've had a couple people asking, your name is Jack and Kit, your channel name is Jack and Kit, but we haven't got to see Kady on the channel. This is Kady. This is the star of the show. She's gonna be 15 this year, and she's just my favorite crafting companion. So, hey Kady, she wants to go do her own thing, but we'll try to show her a little bit more on the channel. So the next finished object I have are my Christmas socks. A little bit late, it's the end of January, but as you'll hear soon, I just don't know if socks are for me. This was the Crazy Sock Ladies, her like vanilla sock pattern, and I used a Malabrigo yarn for this, and then a yarn that's about to be discontinued by Brooklyn Tweed for the red. So I got this at like a major discount. You can see this has like the reinforced heel flap, kind of traditional turn here. So this is my first pair of completed socks. I've actually tried another pair. I did them on a 9-inch circular, and then I tried doing 1 at a time magic loop, and I messed up a few times. I was still kind of learning like as I was going through the heel gusset, and so I actually just ended up putting that to the side when Christmas time came around, and I really just wanted to cast these on. So I cast these on 2 at a time, and that was actually pretty intuitive to me. If anybody here is listening and they're afraid of 2 at a time, I highly recommend it, especially if you're used to magic loop. I just feel like it was pretty intuitive and easy to get through. I'm not sure if something that would have hindered me would have been like a second sock syndrome, but given that I didn't finish my first pair, I just wanted to try that. But yeah, so these, I kind of don't know where to start with these. I finished them and I put them on, and it was just kind of like, meh. It is like, this is it. This is what I spent so many hours doing, was this like thin sock. I took off my nice Bombas socks and I put these on, and within like an hour, my feet got cold. And, you know, I'm just being realistic with you guys. It was pretty disappointing. You know, I do wear like a higher end sock, like I just mentioned, those Bombas socks, but I also do wear like my Costco socks all the time, and I'm kind of a sock lady. I love socks. I I love pairing them with different outfits and wearing them with my Birkenstocks, like I mentioned. So I thought that socks were something I was going to be really interested in. But I found, and I've even spoken with a couple of people, that, I just don't know if the really little needle knitting is for me. It's pretty uncomfortable. It wasn't something that I was drawn to or that I wanted to pick up a lot. And then the other thing is just the product. Like, the product to me wasn't worth it. I don't want to wear these. My feet got cold, like I mentioned. Fit wise, they fit totally fine, but I'd much rather wear my other socks. So the other thing was with Magic Loop, I felt like it's impossible for you not to get the little line down the side. Like, no matter how hard I tugged, there's still like a line of demarcation, if you will, where you can see where I'm joining the next round for Magic Loop. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry to dampen anyone's like sock love. If you love socks, like that's so cool for you. I love that. But if you can convince me, Jackie, you need to use this yarn or you need to be doing it this way, please let me know. I'm all for that. But as it stands right now, I think me and socks are breaking up. Or we're on a break, maybe. We're on a break. We'll see how I feel going forward. But yeah, for now, we're on a break. So now going into my whips, I have a couple of things that I'm working on. Last podcast episode, I talked to you guys about my pressed flowers cardigan. I'm not going to show that today. I didn't work on it at all this last week with finishing this. But what I will do is I'm going to add a little progress keeper. And I'm just going to try to get myself to at least do like maybe 2 flower rows a week. Just get myself keeping going. It's not something I'm loving working with. The yarn I feel like is a little bit sticky. And yeah, it's just not something I'm like immediately drawn to and wanting to pick up right now, but I would love to keep it progressing. And so I'm just going to have that be a goal. And hopefully next podcast episode, I have some progress to show you with that. I do have another whip to show you though. This is the Lana Vest. I just cast this on last night. And if you're familiar with my Instagram or the YouTube video I posted last week, I talked a little bit about Irene Lynn and her vests. I absolutely love them. Her cabled vest, I think she does really well, really beautifully. And I had originally thought I was going to do the Carly cardigan one. It's just kind of like split down the middle. But when I found this yarn, I really felt like a pullover type style would just look better with it. So I decided to go with my original favorite pattern of hers, the Lana Vest. And so here you go. You can see, you can see the short rows I've started. So this starts at the back and then there's a few cables within there. It's really fun. And so this is my very first time doing cables. I'm so excited. And so I really wanted to pick a fun yarn for this. I'm in the mood where just fun, bright colors are making me want to pick up my projects more. So, I knit for me, I knit for my mental health, and I want to pick things that bring me joy. So this color it was. This is the Kins & Co. Osprey yarn in the color Leek. And yeah, I think I'm going to look like a little Easter, like the peeps. I've been saying I'm going to look like a little peep in this. I'm so excited. But yeah, this yarn is beautiful. Pretty thick, as you can see. This is an Aran weight as well. And this is 100% what they're calling just 100% American wool. I've really loved working with it so far. The pattern I think has been extremely easy to follow. I will note one thing, I am a left-handed knitter, and so all of the cables I essentially just have to flip. I also have to do that, if it's a make one right, I have to make it a make one left. So that's essentially what I'm doing with the cables, just so that it reflects on the pattern well. I think that is a video I'm going to be making sometime soon, is all the edits and modifications and also all the injustices I feel as a left-handed knitter. So if that's something you'd be interested in, if you also knit left-handed, please feel free to ask me any questions or let me know if you'd like to see a video about that. I know left-handed knitters, there's very few of us, surprisingly. So many people that I meet that are left-handed were either forced or they felt like the only way to knit was the right-handed way. And so they're left-handed, but they knit right-handed, which that's kind of crazy to me. You know, that would be like playing a sport with your non-dominant hand. You would never do that. So just very surprising to me. It makes me wonder, are they going slower? I just, think about when you're going really fast with your dominant hand, if you are right-handed, and then being forced to use your other hand, you would seemingly go slower. So yeah, I have a lot of questions about that. I do not think it's wrong to knit left-handed, obviously. And so hopefully I can be the advocate and cheerleader for all of us left-handed people. So yeah, for that one, I'm so excited. I just have that little bit, so maybe I'll add a little progress creeper for us, and I'll get to show you next week where I'm at with that. And so lastly, I want to talk a little bit about some of my acquisitions. And I actually waited a few days to film this podcast because yesterday I went with some of my knitting friends to a store in Elgin, Illinois called Wool & Co. And for anybody that's not familiar, this store is huge and beautiful. You walk in and everything is like impeccably clean and organized. I think they kind of organized it by brand, and then some stuff is by weight. So it kind of depends on where you are in the store, but there's something over like, I'll have to put up on the screen how many skeins they have in the store. There's like a really huge number. But in particular, what my friends and I were really interested in is that they just carry some brands that we're unable to find locally to us. So this was an hour and a half away for us, but it was a fun little girls' trip. But we were so excited because there are so many yarns we had never seen in real life before, but that we've wanted to use or we've seen influencers use, like Sandnes Garn or Isager yarn, La Bien Amy, Hedgehog fibers. It was just so fun to see things that I've wanted to purchase online before, but you're hesitant because you've never felt it. It's kind of hard to see colors online. So yeah, it was 100% worth the trip. I definitely think we'll go back one day, but I got some things, so I'll show you them. So the first thing I got is this Hedgehog Fibers yarn. This is the sock yarn. It's a fingering weight. It's 90% merino wool and 10% nylon. And these come in 400 meter skeins. I think it equates to like 437 yards. And I'll show you the colors here. So pretty. So it's kind of like a lavender with, looks like we have some like light blue and then yellow and pink. Oh, it's so and pretty. Purple speckles. I know I had mentioned to you I was going to make a Musselburgh hat out of some other yarn that I had, but I actually think this is the one that I'm going to be casting on. Ireland has a special place in my heart because I studied abroad there. So this one, just knowing like it was made and dyed in Ireland just makes it kind of special to me. I followed this brand for a while. There's a group that I follow on Instagram that went on this like knitting tour in Ireland, and they actually went to Hedgehog Fibers. So ever since I watched that, I've just been super intrigued by this brand and the way that they dye. They use just a lot of bright colors. And so yeah, it's beautiful. I can't wait to wear it. When I make it, I think I'm going to be casting on this Musselburgh hat this week, so hopefully that's something you'll see in my whips next episode. My next purchase was the BlueSky fibers, and this is called the Extra Aran. I'll show this to you. Look at how squishy it is. And this is 55% baby alpaca and 45% fine merino. And it looks like, let's see, made in Peru. I was looking at how many yards this is. This is 218 yards. So pretty exciting. This is 218 yards. But I was really excited about this because I really wanted to make the Sophie shawl to go along with the hat that I made. So because of these light blues that are in this Hedgehog Fibers skein, I felt like this would just go really cool. It would just be like a fun winter combo. I'm really looking for bright colors to kind of brighten my winter and, bring some happiness and joy to winter. So I'm excited about this. I'm thinking what I'm wanting to do is finish this and then go into this. I'm trying not to have too many projects at once. And I would get right now more use out of a hat than a scarf. I guess I don't know if that's 100% true, but I'm a little bit more excited for this. So I'm going to do this first, and then, you know, maybe we'll get like 50% through and then cast on this. We'll see. But yeah, so that's my hat and scarf plan. Okay, so for my last acquisition, I have these. And for this, I'm planning to make like a banana sweater, if you will. So I've been seeing this on Instagram. I think somebody else made a banana sweater I saw and was really intrigued by. I think it's all because of this Sandnes Garn Sunday in the color banana by Petite Knit. And this is made in Norway. This is 100% merino wool. And then I'm gonna plan to hold it. So hold one strand of this and one strand of this. This is the Cumulus by Fyberspates. And this is a 74% baby Sari alpaca and a 26% mulberry silk. So holding them together, I think is going to be so pretty. You know, yellows are really hard. I think they're hard to wear with a lot of different complexions, especially light complexions. And so there was a couple yellows I was like holding up in the mirror at the actual location and trying to figure out, you know, is this something I'm going to make and I'm going to hate the way it looks on me, or am I actually going to like it? And I don't know, I feel like it's going to be kind of cute. I think it's going to work out. We'll see, you know, worst comes to worst. I hate it and I sell it or whatever. But for right now, this is bringing me joy. I think it's really cool. It's unique. You know, I rarely see sweaters this color in stores and, you know, especially made out of these materials. So I'm really excited. My current plan for this and the amount of yarn I got is just for the No Frills sweater by Petite Knit. She uses Sunday in that pattern, and so I'm excited to just kind of have a more plain sweater construction as well. I'm not sure if I'll cast it on at the same time I'm doing this vest, but I like the idea of doing like a hard pattern and then an easy pattern, a hard pattern, then an easy pattern. And this Lana vest is something that, you know, I can't look up from. Every single stitch is different, you know, purl 4, knit 3, then do a cable, then knit 6, then purl 7. You know, it's like you can't take your eyes off of it sort of thing, whereas a no frill sweater is essentially some increases and like stockinette in the round. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm planning my timeout and what I'm thinking for easy, hard, easy, hard, easy, hard. So yeah, so those are my finished objects, my current whips, and then also some things I've acquired this week. I hope that you guys have enjoyed watching and enjoyed listening. If you were knitting along while you were listening, please in the comments down below, tell me what you're working on. I would love to hear like what are your favorite patterns right now? What's a yarn you think I have to try? Or what's something that, you know, you don't like or you started and you've hated working on it? Whatever, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions.